as much as $100 in waste. There's some form of wealth in all of this. It comes to matters of waste. So, Honorable Commissioner, uh, find taken to medium that they have to voice their annoyance, to voice their displeasure about that of it, and the first title of which EAPS for that matter. Why is this?
Well, let me first of all commend all our residents for at least showing their concern about the general situation of waste and its in Ondo State. It is not out of point when the residents feel part of the pangs and pains of certain things that could arise from the mismanagement of our waste. Said that to note, and I think all our residents should hear this, that the government under the leadership of our governor, Arakuni Olarotimi Odoayo Akredolu, SCNCON, has done a lot in the area of waste management in Ondo State. Mr. Governor has particularly, even on his own, decided at a time to set up a committee to look into our waste issues generally. And in the last episodes, let me say, we were handling public waste in about 7 local governments of the state. And when we now saw that operational issues had occurred arising from the problems associated with the price of fuel that astronomically went 100% that period, and the budget was just between 180 then to but having from 200 naira per liter of diesel to as much as 1,000 naira, 1,000 naira and above. So if anybody should from whether you're an angel or a godman to arise from to the government at all hand waste in general that concerns government. It is this affair. For example, handling the time, and some of our farmers to other PS Global, that is the company helping us to manage the population. And I wouldn't say that the company has not done much. The company has been trying all along to with the variables, and on our own part, we've been paying. But the attitude of our people too, we should call to question why you are battering government. Nobody is even talking about our people, the residents.
We'll come to that particular issue, Honorable Commissioner, for in the course of this conversation. From some of your submission earlier, you spoke about the increase of fuel, particularly diesel. But some would also argue that the diesel market has been deregulated for a long time, and it has really been high for a while. And the changes in price cannot be compared to what we have currently when you talk about petrol, when you talk about petrol that has just been, when subsidy has just been removed from. So some would want to say that's really able for government to say the waste management sector should not run efficiently as it should run.
No, I don't whether there is a bit of disconnect from what I've said and what you are saying. For example, if we have been able to cope up till about 2 weeks ago, and you would understand too that severally there has been a remarkable improvement in the waste management of even in Akure metropolis for some time, except when the issue of rose the price of those from about 600 to 1,000 naira and above. It's of recent. This was said now as at present for 1,000 naira and above. So if we have had budgetary allocation of about 600 naira, 800 naira, and it is now 1,000 plus, and government practices, I think everybody will know that you can't do anything outside the budget. Otherwise, you will be found wanting on certain other things, financial mismanagement or recklessness or all this or that. And government is looking into that very seriously now that we have deluge of problems arising from the issue of waste as far as even in Akure metropolis. That is the point I was trying to make.
So, principally, the issue of the major cost of all of this in the
That is a major cost.
So, how's the government looking to resolve that currently? Because today, for about 2 days, you find the streets that dirty. Perhaps the issue of food came in, and the next 2 days, you find that work really has commenced back, and they're clearing those dump sites. What happens with the 2 days that they come back on? Is it that the budget has been changed, or what?
The issue when like I've said, that we have a contractor that is handling our public waste management, and issues like that. For example, if money is paid as a when due, you find the contractor up and do. Then there are times if there is a slight delay, definitely that one will affect the waste manager. But by and large, it is a problem between us, the contractor, and the residents. Are you not appalled that you wake up and you find the reviews and the divider all along from this, what do they call it, this church, this cathedral, Ondo Road, as far as Army Barrack there. The divider becomes the place where our residents would dump. We're not allowed to use certain language on here, but I will have, in the parks, it is only pigs that will always put reviews anywhere, will sleep under reviews, will bath, will do a lot of things under reviews. Then in the past too, it is only mad people that will come around dropping this is the antithesis of paradox, that are people, even elites, will open the boot of their cars, dumping waste along the divider, not just at the sideways.
Why you've clearly stated that this issue of addressing public waste management in Ondo State, it's on a tripod: government, the partners, and the people. But the example you've cited now, many residents would say it's the failure of the government and its partners that's pushing the situation to this level. What exactly would, because many would say the government has not really provided much for public waste management in Ondo State.
That would be, people are talking from an uninformed standpoint.
So please.
Okay, for example, I told you initially that we are managing public waste in 7 local governments with about 38 million naira per month. When we now have issues...
For each of those local governments?
No, together.
Okay.
When we now have issues with the pricing of these petroleum products, like that we now review. So how can we better manage the whole thing? Let us reduce the number of local governments so that local government will take care, local government authorities will take care of other of waste management in their local governments. So to go into 4 local government and basically for Akure South, local Odigbo and Ondo. And the amount per month was increased to about 45 million naira per month. A government that is spending as much as 45 million naira to manage its public waste cannot be said not to have done something financially to help the system. So, I wish to admit too that there are other issues. Some of the PSPs handling the interiors are having problems with meeting the needs on their own and that of the people. People are not paying money. And the business is becoming unactive. And some of them are down in tools. And majorly it's our people. So what could government do? As at that period, are we going to be arresting all the residents of Ondo State simply because they have not been meeting their own personas on their
so is it a case of government now being handicapped to arrest the situation?
We are just looking at another level of things that last week now. Oh yes, within this week we have met. We are trying to look at the user price, the charges, to make adequate provision for the handlers, the PSPs, and to make sure that our people are not unnecessarily shortchanged. If you look at the variables within the community now, the society, people hardly find it to hit 3 square meters per day, and for a particular PSP handling a particular area demarcated for them, we want to charge about 3,000, 4,000 per household. That would be too astronomical. That will add more problem to our residents, which government funds seriously at. And we are looking at a place where there will be basic agreement within the middle so that our residents are not unnecessarily battered financially, and the practitioners of the PSPs are not put into jeopardy by not getting certain amount of money after doing the job, no profit. So that's what we are looking. We are sitting down and agreed at a particular point, and we'll roll out that price regime very soon.
Because when you say very soon, I'm looking at the interconnectivity between waste, health, and productivity. Because when you have a dirty environment, perhaps almost certain that your health will be in jeopardy and your productivity will also suffer. You say
I mean very, very soon. Let's start now till next week. The price regime will be out.
So when the price regime is out, what next?
So the next thing is to make sure that all SPs that we have looked at their status, we found out that they could manage our waste better. We've employed them. And there's going to be a guarantee that the interiors will be better surfaced. Now we have the problem of the public waste issue. And this is between us and ZL Global that is helping us to manage. And we are sure we've enlisted this commitment of that company to be more alive to its responsibilities.
When you talk about now enlisting PSPs that would really do the job, have you done that already?
Yes, that's what, as I said.
What criteria did you go through? Because time and again we talk about
we made sure
the issue of vehicles and all of that.
Yes.
Please tell us some of the things you considered before even.
Well, we look at the specific offices that they are using. Those people who will be in charge we must have their offices in Akure local government. 2, they must have very good vehicle trucks that will surface, will go to the interiors, depending on where you are given. There are some vehicles or trucks that cannot go to the interior so much, so we look at all those things, that the facilities they have in place. If we have that are majorly good, they are allotted 2 or 3 maybe like compartments, about maybe 100,000 households.
So how many of these PSPs have you?
Already we have 15.
And they're ready to go?
And they're ready.
Very soon.
So
the people of those states perhaps can take your word to the bank that
definitely, yes.
The issue of perhaps you tell them that
yes, I think government or the Ministry of Environment through Waste Management Authority. And I think there should be a demarcation too. The Ministry of directly supervise everything about the waste issue is through the Waste Management Authority and the PSPs, most especially the major PSP. Ours is to provide the government policy to roll it out, to roll policies out. This is what you should do. And then we are talking about price regime now. An office be in charge. This is what you should do, because taking cognizance of what policies of government vis-a-vis the Mr. Governor's agenda on the environment, and now put out this that will not to the residents. Then two, it is obvious too that we should be able to know to determine the capacity of all PSPs that will engage, so that we don't meet similar issues like this too. And the price regime that will be okay for both residents and the practitioners to be able to cope.
Commissioner, on just opinion that that authority has been restricted or reduced to environmental sanitation. Tell us, what's the position of the State Waste Management Authority at this time in the scheme of things, in this whole issue of addressing our environmental challenges?
Well, the ministry, if anybody was, and I beg to use this, from a very uninformed position, that the Waste Management Authority have been reduced to nothingness or to...
No. They said you only get to fuel them perhaps on environmental sanitation days. That's the last Saturday.
They are always on road. But I was telling you the other side of this. Even I had the sometime parks that I swept on my own along the street. All of us unit together. While we were supervising them, that is the Waste Management Authority, they are always on road, going here and there, enforcing the environmental laws as far as waste management is concerned. So when people say there is no enforcement, I begin to say, where did you find your information? Because I am aware that Waste Management Authority are there, and there are times for us at the Ministry of Environment, we go out, all out too. Not once, not twice, not thrice, as many times.
So they are responsible for enforcement?
The Waste Management
Authority?
Yes, authority. Under our own watch, we monitor them.
How much of that have they done? Some would really want to say that when things are in the situation they had now, where they are failed in different parts to really meet commitment and all of that, perhaps the people really don't have anything to do, and perhaps there might really not be an enforcement to hold on to. But really, for the Waste Management Authority, how much of that enforcement they've been able to do?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I think I should give them pass mark for doing their job, but there is always the need for improvement at all times. Then we can still not talk about the financial situation, and it's a general thing. All over the state, all over the country, the state governments have not been able to have much. And even in those states, you look at the situation as far as this is concerned, and Mr. Governor has done a lot. You talk about the security architecture of the state, his scoping money, and where a government is spending about 48 million naira per month in public waste, and in the area of flooding, a lot of money goes there.
So residents are really hoping that, with all of this renewed commitment, that everyone will really do their own
Yes,
part of
the
it.
residents must not be looking at government side alone. The residents must too look into their own way of life. They should be prepared to adhere very strictly to environmental and the dictates of the use of environment.
Some might decide not to adhere, and that's why we have the authority.
So now, if
and we really want to really see them to
it wouldn't be out of point now if any of the rest who fall short of the environmental laws is being taken to the court, and at the end of the day, you are charged and you go to what's it, security or whatever. You won't be blaming government. Thank God, all residents of Ondo State have used their side to see the menace of waste issue as far as even Accra Metropolis alone is concerned. That is embarrassing not just the government, it's even embarrassing residents. Whether you like it or not, the Yoruba will say, it is all of us. And even some of the well-to-do, well-meaning individuals within the society, it is opposite to mention that you should collaborate with government. Government cannot do all things. Environment is meant for every other person within the setup. It's not government alone. Let people come, join hands with us, assist us where possible. When you see it, fix it. Even there are little things you can do on your own as a resident. A well brought up person, somebody that acts the means. Join force with government to assist the environment.
Commissioner, there are concerns that some places, some locations within Akure, particularly that we can really see, are fast becoming landfills. Take, for instance, the first exposure for anybody who is coming into Ondo State, perhaps who has the opportunity to fly in to our airport. They get to the airport along Obaile, and perhaps from there drive into the city. You find some places along that corridor
Illegal dump sites.
They are fast becoming landfills. Along the airport road, where you get to popular, just before the School of Agric, along that same Mobile road, you find another one. The Adesupa corridor is also another one that you find, dump site. In the past, we've seen efforts to fix this. I wouldn't know, government perhaps would also have spent some monies to also fix some of these places, but they are now ever present.
Majorly, the major PSP, that is a partner in the public waste management, is basically responsible for that. And I think just last month, all those landfills, illegal landfills, were touched. I think I saw it myself, and I monitor that the company has done a lot in that area, and there is still room for improvement.
But some would say some of these places that I've mentioned have never been touched in months now.
No.
And that also begs.
Last month, the company was there, and I monitored
at the airport road.
Last airport road specifically.
Those wastes are back on those corridors, and that's also the issue of enforcement now.
It is expected. It is just 3 months. We gave the company 3 months to evacuate waste from illegal dump sites, and the particular amount of money has been set aside for that, for her to manage that waste effectively.
Should we even really have illegal dump sites?
But there's nothing we could do.
We can't enforce.
For example, can you enforce between the hours of 2 a.m., 3 a.m.?
If that's what it takes, wouldn't you be able to do it?
So what are the people to be sent there? You will send the police.
This is what to keep our city clean. Are you not ready to go that length?
What we should do is to talk to the consciousness of our people, of our residents, rather than allow our people to just stay there between 12 a.m. to 5 a.m. I don't think that one is possible for now.
Okay, you don't think that is really necessary to keep our city clean?
No, I said the person that has been given the authority to make sure that place is made clean is now alive to his responsibilities.
Perhaps we'll start keeping tabs with the 3 months interval which you have mentioned and see how things are really progressing, because it's an ugly sight when you drive in from the airport and you see that welcome to Akure is synonymous with welcome to landfills, illegal
and whatever. So we are working very seriously on that.
Let's push this conversation forward, Honorable Commissioner. The issue of the major landfill in Ondo State, the one at Igbatoro. I myself have had to do some reports on that particular place. I also have my colleague, Joy Pius, who has also visited that scene to see the state of things at that particular location and say it's quite bad.
And embarrassing too.
You're not doing anything, are you?
Yes, we are doing something. Like the meeting we had this week, in totality, we consider the situation of waste management, including the landfills, not just at Igbatoro, the other one at Wenakom. And majorly, we have already farmed out the whole place to our partner, ZL Global. And I think the company should take responsibility for anything that happens within the place. And surely, within the next couple of days, the company has promised to go back to the place and to do the needful. So we are not resting on our horse as far as the landfills are concerned.
When you talk about do the needful, what does that mean?
That means the company will go to look at the principles and tenets of a MOU and really go into the last letter to make sure that the landfill is looked into very well.
Mr. Kawaliro, you mentioned the issue of the MOU, and this has also been a subject of conversation. We'll go to the issue of flooding quickly, but we'll close with this one on the issue of our public waste management. And that's also the issue of recycling some of these things. Just like I mentioned, the Waste Speakers Association of Nigeria says the waste sector can bring as much as $100 billion to the Nigerian economy. In Ondo State, we've had that sort of mindset, but it seems we've gone up the track.
Well, I wouldn't say so. If you have been following us very well, both at the Ministry of Environment and generally. For example, there is the resuscitation of Ondo State, my friend is the head of that place, that Honorable Special Advisor to Mr. Governor.
The
OSEPA, that has not been resuscitated. All of us.
Environmental Protection Agency?
Yes, we were at the United Nations Industrial Organization some times back. And even about 2 weeks ago, we had a joint discussion over this, our collaboration with UNIDO in the use of plastic waste management in the state. And there has been a policy on that. And the policy just to make sure that we take plastic waste to wealth. And a very serious issue has gone with UNIDO partnering with us, and very soon they have been collecting plastic waste here and there, mopping. And when plastic waste is even a major problem about our waste situation, and when that one is taken out, much has been done in that. So we are not resting our hands too.
All right, thank you so much, Commissioner, for giving us insight into some of these issues. Let's now switch gears to the issue of flooding, because this is also one that affects our environment. Check the news, you see meteorological agency coming up with predictions, you see environmental management agencies, you see disaster management agencies also even lending their voice to all of these issues that, look, flooding is still a major concern. And sometimes you find this cutting across different states in Nigeria. In Ondo State, what's the situation with managing or perhaps preparing for flooding?
Well, to the glory of God and the benevolence of Mr. Governor SNCON, we have achieved very remarkably in terms of flooding situation in Ondo State. And I think I need not remind all of us that Ondo State is a coastal state. Of the 1,500 kilometers of coastline in Nigeria, Ondo State has the longest of 180 kilometers. But really imagine that there will be serious issues of flooding, most especially the seaside, seeing caution here and there. But then, have we done anything? Yes, we have done a lot. For example, for a government who has procured about 3 amphibious excavators to manage this flood, that is not a small thing to have done. And 2 of these are mechanically, they are mechanically driven. Are very good for that. And the 3 excavators have been, we have put them in 3 senatorial districts, allotted each one to a senatorial district of its own, and all these are working very pursuit together. And that is why we've been able to achieve a lot that we have done. If not, by today, we wouldn't be saying all this that was made for adventure. Osrc will have been badly affected too.
No, we are not in the flood prone area.
Because you told really for example, there is a particular channel down there at Iriakari.
You've done that too?
Yes. And we have done the ones, but they are coming to complete the rest. And if you look at Ayedun Access, Enyala, down to Elisha Garage, this hotel that you mentioned at that time. This Elisha Garage, this hotel very close to Elisha Garage. You see, right from Enyala, Ayedun Access to that junction is not less than 8 kilometers. And that is why I give kudos to ZL, is the one helping us to manage a flooding issue too. There, I can specifically say wow to the company that has done so much. Last year, a prediction of same occurred that Ondo State will be ravaged by flooding. But throughout the year, we came out very clear. I'm not saying there are no pockets of flooding around there, but of the 600 life lost to flooding last year, none happened in Ondo State. And of about several billions of naira property destroyed, you find, as far as Ondo State is concerned, we are able to come out very clean too, even if there are skirmishes here and there. But we thank God to do it. If not for the work, the commitment of Mr. Governor, the Ministry of Environment, and that of our partner, we wouldn't be saying this now. And that is why all of us must be thinking about the issue of climate change. Whether we like it or not, climate change has come with us. We are having, Ondo State is having some fair share of the problems associated with climate change. Deforestation, this misuse of waste, and people building, erecting structures at floodplains. These are problems that usually occur.
Is that a problem in Ondo State? Erection of structures in the waterways?
Yes, it's a problem, definitely. When water cannot pass, then I will now talk about, we were discussing this issue of, you were saying some the drainage.
We'll come to that, but Honorable Commissioner, we're in Ondo State, but of course we also see some of the development in other states. Take for instance Lagos. Yeah. You see what Lagos State government has embarked on now. Yeah. To really say an end to all of these issues, destroying or demolishing illegal structures or structures of waterways. Yeah. Are we ever going to get to that point where we say some of these structures that have a potential to threats to life? It might not be now, but in the future, we really take a strong stance on them.
Yes. No,
are we ever getting there?
Yes, we are trying our best. For example, now, in the area of climate change issue that we are talking about, all this one we nip in the bud some of these issues that will come. Mitigation and adaptation issues within the government. Our Mr. Governor in the past has approved the constitution of a very high power committee that will look into a climate change issue. And other policies are there, and the strategies for their implementation are on ground now. In the past, Lagos has very serious issues with maintaining their waste and regular problem with flooding. But sometimes they're able to come over but Lagos State has the advantage that Lagos State has over Ondo State is much, and I think that is why they are able to combat some of the problems we have mentioned. We are taking a cue. At least we've gone to the Ministry of Environment, we've gone to LASEPA, trying to look at their models, and we are fine-tuning it to domesticate some of this in Ondo State. I don't think it's out of point. When you see people who are doing well, you copy, and we are practically doing very well because it's a major concern to Mr. Governor. Everything about this issue of environment, and that is why the commitment has been there in the flood EU. Structures have been in place, then adequate financial resources have been put on ground, at least by Mr. Governor, and that is why we are doing much. We are not saying there are no backlashes, that there are no infringements around there. We still have, of course, even before we went to Allah, there was a serious devastation in the past. But why we have this problem too, Mr. Governor has paid another 500 million naira to the World Bank as a counterpart fund to manage our waste here through the new map arrangement. And some of this that have been done in the past, the governor too has done a lot. Even at Ayetoro, the engineering design of Ayetoro has been done, and World Bank has really approved that engineering design. So we are doing much. When there are issues of environment, a minimal issue will create a lot of problem, will generate issues. In other ministries, you don't find that. For example, where you see waste here, the environment is in jeopardy. But nobody will be talking about the achievements that have been recorded so far. But, well, that is why we are government.
Your activities will always fall under the spotlight. Just like I said, looking at the connection these really have with, the well-being of the people. But, Honorable Commissioner.
Maybe I should quickly add this. At least when anybody has done fine, it should be our interest to quickly, lavishly give appropriation to such a person. As far as Ondo State is concerned now, in Nigeria, if you have anyone governor that has never touched ecological fund, it's going to be around SANCON. The ecological fund that has been coming to the state each month has never, a dime of it has not been touched by Mr. Governor.
Where do we push them to?
To solve ecological use. And that is why we have achieved much in the area of flood control.
How much of that? How much of those funds are we talking about?
I think it is neighborhood of between either 30 million, 40 million. It is not static. But the beauty of what I am taking out, I am not accusing the state government, but there are states where a couple of such amount will not even go to ecological use.
So, Commissioner, have you had the opportunity to drive when there is rain, when rains are falling in Akure,
Yeah.
and you drive through the streets? As little as the rain may be, our streets, our roads are usually fast flooded. What exactly is this?
We are talking about the issue of drainages at that time, and I think that is a subtle depth into our drainage system. Where will the enormous investment in infrastructural development of the state, which had never occurred in the past 20 years, there is no way that we can run away from some of the side effects that we usually attend such development. For example, because of the security situation of the state, the architecture the governor, Mr. Governor has put into the system, the serenity of the environment, and the serious commitment to road infrastructures and other things. Easily this will attract investors, and you see the investment here and there in buildings, in all these things here and there in Ondo State. Definitely there will be a time that infrastructures will have from grammars, especially in managing the road issue, will become very serious. The drainages are becoming not up to date with current realities of development, which we are looking into with the Ministry of Lands and Infrastructure. At least we have done mapping of where we have serious challenges, but then we are still disrupting our drainages here and there. Maybe you have seen one or two where we disrupt our drainages.
Is the ministry in charge of that?
The Ministry of Infrastructure. The Ministry of Environment is in charge of disrupting the drainages. But then, where the drainages are not up to standard again, to reality, it's not us.
Because we have some also that people have questioned their design, the design of those drainages for some of these routes.
No, the design when they were made in the past, they are at par with the realities of
the past. But we are in the present.
But we are in the present, and the ministry is working very seriously on the issue of drainage and covers.
All right, it's been a long time. We've been speaking with the Honorable Commissioner for Environment in Ondo State, Mr. Sunday Akiwale, on the issue of waste management and, of course, the enforcement. And you have said that there is a renewed commitment, and we are going to, residents of Ondo State will be taking his words to the bank to see how well things will really improve in the days ahead. He has also issued a task to you to also join in this effort to ensure our state is clean. Honorable Commissioner, thank you so much for coming on the program today.
I thought you asked the last point, what advice are we going to give to our
Are you dropping anyone?
Yeah, definitely, yes. I think that's the bane and the cruise of this.
So what would you say?
So let me say this, that let me appreciate once again all our residents that have shown very serious concern about the situation of management of waste in Ondo State. But then, you should know, all of us will be partners in progress. Let our residents be ready to partner with the state government to achieve the best. For example, you don't dump your waste irregularly and you expect to meet the environment clean. So while government is doing its own, let our residents be cooperative. So we appeal to all our KBSs in their respective palaces, market women, landlord association, please let us take care of our environment. Don't let us leave the bulk of the matter to the state government. While state is putting the resources that is best, a corresponding cooperation is necessary to achieve the best. And in the case of maybe Jean-Jacques Rousseau in his social contract, John Locke and Thomas Hobbes in their Leviathan and two treatises of government, they agreed together. They are political philosophers. Well, that when among the variables, when there is a major disconnect, life will become short, brutal,
All right.
and everything else. So let all the variables, let us come together.
Thank you so
that
much, Honorable Commissioner for Environment, Sunday Akinwale, on the issue of waste management in Ondo State and efforts to address them. And we really hope that in the days ahead, we do not get to, or we will not be getting to see our streets laced with death. Thank you once again for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
This is where we say our buys on the program today. Today on Osrc Television, the Friday edition. And of course, here is wishing you a very lovely weekend. My name is Sahid Aribisala.